on to the reserves. We will start in the Eastern Conference. Jaylen Brown, Pascal Siakam, Darius Garland, Cade Cunningham, first-timer, Evan Mobley, first-timer, Damian Lillard, and Tyler Hero, another first-timer. First off, I have to say shame on us for not even mentioning Pascal Siakam last week.
I know.
And it's funny, we're so guilty of doing what we accuse so many people of doing when we watched him all the time when he was a Raptor. As KG and Paul Pierce, he ain't watching the games, man. Pascal Siakam is hooping this year for Indiana and has played in every game up to this point. Hat tip to Pascal. P. Skills back on the All-Star stage.
Yeah, absolutely deserves it. And I thought that too. I was like, damn, of all the players, like you and I have been Pascal day ones from our times covering the Raptors all the way back to 2019. And, I have no beef with Pascal being an All-Star. He is someone who absolutely deserves it. He's played at an extremely high level this year. He's been their most consistent, best player all season. Tyrese Halliburton started out slow. He's come on strong as of late, but Pascal was a huge reason why the Pacers were able to stay afloat while Tyrese Halliburton was trying to find his groove this year.
Yeah, it's interesting because, it's funny. I mean, and it doesn't really change it that much, right? Pascal Siakam's 30. He'll be 31 this year. But it was like they're bringing him in last year to be help for Tyrese Halliburton. And Tyrese Halliburton, like you said, came out of the gate a little slow. And it seems like Tyrese Halliburton needs to pick it up to be Pascal Siakam's help. But as we kind of talked about, a lot of it is what have you done for me lately? And the Pacers have been playing really good basketball as of late, after a slow start to the season as a team. And like you said, Pascal Siakam has been a big reason for that. And he's just a guy who, from most improved player to all-star starter, everything we've seen him do, another step in the journey for him. So big shout out to Pascal Siakam. Now to the other all-star reserves. Again, big shout out to the first-timers, Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Tyler Hero, a person that you were really talking about what he did. And kudos to him for everything that's going on around him in Miami, him being that lone constant. The Jimmy Butler saga, but also Bam Adebayo having some ups and downs this year. Tyler Hero having one of the best seasons of his career, the best season of his career, being very consistent. I think it's 24, 5, and 5 he's averaging in Miami. Definitely worth an all-star nod there. Anybody else from this group that kind of stands out to you? That, I mean, obviously we pretty much mentioned everybody else last week. I know we'll get to the snubs in a second, but what do you think about these reserves?
I mean, Cade Cunningham is someone who I didn't think that there should have even been a question if he should be an all-star or not, but I was really glad once I saw his name come across, just because, I mean, look at the way that team played last year. Like, they lost 28 straight games, tied the record for most consecutive losses in NBA history. And, this is a team that now all of a sudden is, I'm not going to say that they're going to make a playoff run or, kind of scare anybody in the Eastern Conference, but at the same time, like, they are it looks like a completely different culture, completely different team, completely different level of competitiveness. And that is all because of the way that Cade Cunningham is playing. So I was pretty pumped for him, but yeah, you already talked about it a little bit, but Tyler Hero to me is someone who, once his name came across and he was the last player that was announced by the TNT crew, I was really fired up for him just because, I mean, he's averaging career highs in points per game, assists per game, rebounds per game, threes per game, and 3-point percentage. The Heat are still in the top 6 in the Eastern Conference right now. And that has been an absolute disaster of an organization so far in the first half of the season. So, like you said, for everything that's going on with Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo really having a down year offensively, them trying to figure out what's going on with these rotations and they're inserting different guys into the starting lineup. The one constant all year has been Tyler Hero, and I'm glad that he got rewarded for that.
Yeah, big shout out to him. We talked about the Heat saga and talked about emergency pods. During last week's pod, Jimmy Butler got that 2-game suspension handed to him, and we saw it right after the fact. And then he comes back from suspension, storms out of practice, and is suspended indefinitely as we record this. So very likely that he's played his last game in a Miami Heat uniform. And one last note of Cade Cunningham, I believe, and I'm pretty sure, almost 99.9% positive, he's the first Pistons All-Star since Blake Griffin. And we saw Blake Griffin that All-Star weekend and didn't believe that it was Blake Griffin when he was an All-Star back in 2019 in Charlotte. So that's a good throwback for those of you. If you really know us, you would know the story behind seeing Blake Griffin in Charlotte during All-Star weekend in 2019.